Hi guys, I'm back with another spooky story, and this one is a submission from Botswana. So Tay grew up in a very religious family, and I'm talking they never even missed a Sunday for church. Tay always had very little contact with her dad's side of the family, and she always wondered why. Well, all those questions would be answered in due time. So there was some tension from the dad's side of the family against the mother, as the dad's side of the family felt like Tay's mother took the father away from his family. That Tay's mother is purposefully making Tay's father alienate himself from his own family. Ever since Tay's mother and father started that relationship, it caused a terrible rift between the dad's side of the family and the mother. Tay says that there's a few events that would go on in the family that would actually prove that her father's side of the family was behind all of it. Well, to be exact, her father's aunt, or Tay's grand aunt, which she's already been accused of witchcraft, so the family already disowned her. The accusation came about when a dispute came about. Tay's father inherited land from his mother, so Tay's grandmother. Him being the firstborn son, the land would go to him. So Tay's father and grand aunt went to court over this land. And right after Tay's father won the court case against her, shortly after, he unfortunately passed away after being hospitalized for 3 days. Her father passed away on the 27th of February, 2022. Shortly after the death of her uncle that was just that previous year, December 27th, 2021. Unfortunately, those two brothers passed away just 2.5 months apart from each other. Mysteriously at that. So rumor has it that the attack on the uncle was just him literally catching strays, and that the real target was Tay's father. Her uncle literally dropped dead. He was literally at a gas station where he suddenly just fell and died. Now, in order for this to make sense, let me give you guys a bit of a background. And it gets dark. So Tay says that her father believed in the traditional voodoo stuff. So he went to traditional doctors. And after he met Tay's mother, he decided to completely turn his life around and give his life to Jesus Christ. However, that decision enraged Tay's grand aunt. Now keep in mind, this is before Tay was even born. We're taking it that far back. So Tay's dad meets the mom, and they get together and they get married, and they have this beautiful, happy relationship. Now that the dad had this character development that left the aunt to feel like she lost her buddy in all of this. Who else was she supposed to practice that kind of stuff with? So Tay has an older sister who was born way before she was. And Tay's sister recalls that after the ceremony, the wedding ceremony between the mom and the dad, she had a terrible dream. She had a dream that she was being washed with blood by traditionalists. Shortly after the dream, her sister winded up she got more than essayed. And during the violation, grape is what I'm trying to say. And during that, she winds up contracting HIV. And that situation unfortunately changed Tay's older sister's life forever. Her sister became this hypersexual, troublesome teenager who Tay's parents just kept praying for. So after Tay was born, both parents decided that they had to do everything in their power to protect Tay. So Tay was baptized and covered by the blood of Jesus. Tay thought that her older sister was being used to punish her father, kind of like hit him where it hurts type of situation. However, it turns out that the reason for her sister's life being destroyed is the fact that Tay's father mentioned Tay's older sister in his will when she is not even his blood. So Tay's older sister is actually her half-sister. So what particularly enraged the aunt was that this girl who's not even of blood in the family might just wind up inheriting this land. So fast forward to 2015. Tay's mother passes away when she was just in the 3rd grade in 2015. Tay says that her father became a mess after her mother's death and that Tay now had to raise herself. At that point, Tay's older sister had left because she had fallen out with her father. So Tay was left alone in the house with her dad, who's physically there, but he's not really there. He became really immersed in religion, so much so that people around him started calling him crazy. And keep in mind, 2015 was around the time that the court case was still going. So now let's fast forward back to November of 2021, before the uncle and the father dies. Her father won the case for the land, which would mean that he now would inherit part of the land. And that's when the grand aunt decided to strike. Tay says that now that she has just turned 18, she has been given the rightful inheritance to the land included. Now she's scared that her life might just be in danger. So Thank you, Tay. You know who you are. Thank you so much for submitting this story. If you watched it all the way through, you're a real one. Botswana, stand up. Y'all go crazy out there. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have longer, better stories. And I also am close to 20,000 subscribers. I'm not going to keep you guys for long. This is already over 5 minutes. I love you, my abducted humans. Okay, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. Bye. I'm back with another spooky story. And if you're a pregnant woman, this one might be a warning for you. When you are pregnant, at least in Haiti, the women take certain safety precautions to keep them and their babies safe from dark magic. Not to spook you out, but story time. So y'all all know the story that was told to me by my family about how a neighbor was trying to unalive my sister after she was born. So by the time my mother was pregnant with me, there were certain safety precautions that they would make her take so that that doesn't happen with me, so that I'm born with basically like a protection spell. And I actually remember a couple of those remedies, so if you want me to talk about those, I will, because they were disgustingly weird. Anyway, this one is a Virgin Island submission. We'll call the woman Sasha. So she says she got married and moved to this beautiful neighborhood. She was really happy in her marriage, and she moved to like one of the nicer neighborhoods too. She said her husband, being very, very well respected, he was very popular, and so was she. And as far as she was concerned, nobody hated her or nobody had any ill intent towards her husband. Not as far as she knew. So she would move into this neighborhood, and it would only be a matter of time until she got pregnant. And at this point, because she lived far from her in-laws used to come over and basically stay a long extended period of time. So the in-laws would come and they would stay for long periods of time, and they decided that the only thing that was missing from their lives was finding a good church. These were devoted Christians. Long story short, they wind up finding a church not too far from where they lived. So at this point, they start going to church, and the in-laws went with them maybe one time. And at some point, because they didn't live there, the in-laws would just take a trip back home after staying for an extended period of time. So one of the times that the in-laws left and went back home, the couple went to a church. And at this point, Sasha's pretty far along in her pregnancy. We're talking 8 months, due next month. So they go to church and everything is great. Sasha always had a healthy pregnancy. She didn't even have morning sickness. She said pregnancy, holding this baby, was literally a breeze for her. But what was to come next was very surprising. She goes to church one day and she meets a new member at this church. So after service, everybody's just standing around talking when this new member comes up and introduces herself to everybody. One of the members of the church says that they actually know this new member and that they came with her. So Sasha gets into a conversation with this new member, and this new member is congratulating Sasha on her pregnancy and telling her how happy she is for her and all of this. Sasha's husband walks over, and the new member says, "Oh, this is your husband?" But also try to play it off like it was nothing. They brushed past that situation and they just continued their conversation. The new member touched Sasha's stomach. She held Sasha's belly with both of her hands and wished her a healthy and happy birth, and just walked away. They didn't think anything of it. Sasha gets home and she starts having terrible cramps. And the cramps started in the places that this lady had placed her hands on her belly just a few hours ago. And before she knew it, she started feeling cold, sick, headache, weak. Her husband comes to her rescue and helps her to the bathroom. Trigger warning, when she got to the bathroom, was just literally pouring out of her. And she said she felt the most excruciating pain that she felt ever in her whole entire life. She rushed to the hospital and they said that she had to go into immediate birth. And at this point, they had the whole entire family come to this hospital, from the in-laws to her family. Even the pastor from the old church came. Everybody dropped what they had to do and came to this hospital for this woman. And they said that the survival risk was really low for both the mother and the baby. Doctors had no idea what caused this because, again, she's had a healthy pregnancy all along. If anything, best case scenario, it would have came down to either the mother or the baby surviving this, but most likely the mother. So everybody created a prayer circle, from her family to his family to the pastor leading the prayer. Sasha said that she was determined to survive this for her baby. So she would do everything in her power to stay alive, even though she was feeling weak and she was having terrible cramp. They go into delivery and only allowed the husband and the pastor to come with her. Now the rest of the family is literally outside holding on to faith and praying. Sasha says as she's delivering, she's like really at this point starting to doubt that she might survive this, because she didn't even have any more strength and energy to push. Said the pastor laid his hand on her forehead He told her to call on God and that God will give her the strength to finish what she has to do. Sasha says she used her last breath to call on God and ask for strength. But with that, she was able to push out a silent baby. When the baby came out, the baby was not crying. And usually you would know what that means. The nurse was moving the baby around and no cries. While everybody is looking around the room just trying to understand and fathom what just happened, the room was so quiet you can hear a pin drop. As sadness and grief is kicking in the middle of the silence comes in a very loud cry, and it was the baby. So till this day, Sasha calls that baby her prayer miracle baby. You will never be punished if you don't deserve to be punished. Remember that. Karma is real, and there's also good karma. Because Sasha said that day she witnessed a real life miracle. Because she winded up giving birth to a very healthy baby girl. So ladies, don't let people touch your stomach when you're pregnant. Don't do it. Thank you so much for watching this story time. And if it took you on an emotional roller coaster, like it took me, you better go ahead and follow my page because I have so many more of these spooky, mysterious, and dark stories coming out. If you're looking for longer, better stories, I post on YouTube, so you better go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I just posted an hour-long video yesterday, and the people are saying it's the best story I posted thus far. If you want to miss it, I don't know what to tell you. Make sure you follow me on Instagram just so that I know it's real, duh. Thank you so much to my abducted humans. I will catch you guys in the next video. I am back with another spooky story. And apparently, much like Haiti, the Appalachian Mountains have the same rules. And unfortunately, Jeff had a lot to learn, as he was just a city boy who moved to the Appalachian Mountains for work. Jeff mentioned that he lived in a beautiful cabin out there, access to a lot of natural light, a beautiful big living space, and Jeff is just excited to move in. He's working in environmental studies, so this is the exact and perfect place for him to be. However, all of that would take a very dark and mysterious turn. So this house also has a beautiful porch, and out in the porch you're able to see at least a little distance into the mountains. He moved into the cabin during the day, and there was really nothing weird or particular. He didn't feel anything weird. Like I said, Jeff always lived in the city, so he was always like a skeptic. He said before the Appalachian Mountains, he lived down in DC, and before that, it was New York City. So he was a city boy. He never encountered anything spooky. So he had no reason to believe in them outside of them just being horror movies. Fiction. Jeff's first night at the house. Jeff also says that his cabin was really far from like other people's cabins. Like you would have to walk like a good distance for you to even see neighbors. Jeff said the only thing he noticed was that it was very quiet, you know, as opposed to like being in the city, you hear all these noises all the time. So when he moved up here, he had peace and quiet. You can hear a pin drop. He just wanted to take all of this in. So it's getting late and he decides to have a beer out on the porch. Jeff said all his main lights were on. So he has the curtains open and the lights on, and he's sitting out in the porch enjoying a beer. When suddenly he noticed that there's something running in the woods. I mean, it is the woods, so it could be a bear. But then he sees that thing just run again. And this time, it was abnormally fast. So he stops, put his beer down, stands up and looks around to just, gauge whether he's in real danger, whether he should go back inside or whether he's good out here. He says as he stands up looking around, it goes back to being completely quiet. After he stands up, it's been a good minute and nothing happened. He decides, you know what? I'm tripping. Let me just go inside, grab a cigarette, and come back outside and have a smoke. Since he was sitting out in the porch, he just left the door open because it was a direct entrance to the house. So when he turns around, goes to inside to grab himself the cigarette, as he's coming back outside, because he did leave the door open, when he came back though, this time something was different. Because at the bottom of the porch, leading all the way up to his cabin, were footsteps. So the footsteps seems to have stopped right at the entrance. He also said that they were muddy and the feet looked a little bit deformed. Like they were human feet, but they were shaped really weird. So he starts to get paranoid because he's like, oh my gosh, am I not here alone? Why is somebody just walking around barefooted? And obviously, just the way it was one foot in front of the other, these has to be at least human prints. So the person didn't go in the house, but walked all the way up, right up until it. So he says, okay, he's just gonna close the door and investigate the house. So he's literally calling out, hello? Hello, anybody in here? Looking underneath mattresses, opening cabinets to see if anybody's hiding. It will pop out from underneath of something. He knows that his closest neighbor is one of his coworkers, so he's like, maybe one of them is like playing a joke on me. So he decides to rush, close the door, and lock the door. He says as soon as he does that, his light starts to flicker. So as his lights are flickering, it suddenly stops to light. He says suddenly everything is so bright and he's staring right outside his window. He says most people back at home does not believe this part. He saw what he described as a pale creature with no hair, very, very tall, skinny, you can see its bones, a hunchback with void for eyes, so black eyes, and it had like a couple of like long teeth and abnormally long hands and fingers. And then suddenly the lights shut off. So he decides to rush and close up all his curtains while it's dark, just trying to feel around to close his curtains. And as he's feeling around trying to like close everything, he says that he touches something, or rather someone. And at that moment it was clear that Jeff wasn't alone. So as Jeff is literally feeling around trying to close his curtains, his hand hits something or someone. Because when his hand hit that thing seemed to have a reaction, a verbal reaction. Nonetheless, Jeff closes the curtains and then his lights come back on. And he just starts talking at whoever it is like, yo, listen, man, I'm not playing with you. If you're here playing a game with me, if you think this is funny, if this is a prank, it's not funny, I'm not laughing, cut it out. He then takes out his phone to call somebody because now it's starting to like really dawn on him that he's in danger. So he calls one of his closest coworkers that was living nearby. So the phone is ringing and then he hears him pick up. He's like, yo man, I don't know, I think I'm tripping, but like the lights keep flickering and I think I saw something very creepy outside my window. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should leave. I don't know if I should stay. What should I do? And the friend is like, hello? He's like, yes, I'm literally going through so much. And the friend is like, can you repeat that? He's like, yo, I just explained to you what I'm going through. Let me just take a breath and talk slower. The friend's like, I cannot hear you. So on the other line, he's breaking up and the friend is really not able to make out what he's saying. He says out of frustration, he hangs up and decides to call back home. Back home at the time would have been his parents, still living in DC. And he's literally freaking out on the phone, telling them, like he was telling the previous guy, what he's experiencing. However, it really seems like his parents can hear him just fine. There are no connection issues speaking to his parents. As he's explaining everything that he just saw and witnessed living out there by himself, his parents have a rather strange reaction. His mom suddenly goes, oh my God. I didn't think we had to tell you because you're past the age of you showing symptoms. Your dad is fine and he's much older, so we didn't think it was important for us to tell you. And Jeff is like, what, mother? Tell me what? His mother goes on to say that schizophrenia does indeed run in the family. Now at this point, Jeff is 28. He technically should have started showing symptoms years ago. So him being well into his adulthood, his mother didn't think she needed to tell him at this point. His parents told him that in the morning, maybe it is best for him to come home. And as horrified as he was, he had to stay the night in that house. He said he literally shut himself in the closet and just ignored whatever else was happening. Like when he heard something literally scratching at the closet door or footsteps and breathing, he did not budge until morning. The next day, he got in contact with his coworkers to let them know that he will not be continuing his job and that he will be returning to the city. His coworkers asked him why, and as afraid as he was, he told them about what he experienced the night before and that he attempted to call one of the coworkers. And as he was explaining what he went through, leading to his mother telling him about the possible diagnosis, one of his coworkers says, wait, you left your curtains open? Also, you went out there at night and left your door open? That is where you fucked up. So now Jeff is confused because he doesn't know whether he's on the verge of a mental break or whether he actually experienced what he experienced. Because in one hand, his parents are telling him that this runs in the family, and on the other hand, his co-workers are saying, no, these are the rules around here. We've experienced this and worse. Jeff decided not to go down to the city and to just give things a go. Things were so daunting for him the next night that he decided that it was best for him to just go back to the city. So he told his co-workers for the last time that he will be going back to the city. He goes on down, he tells his parents that he's coming back, and they decide to take him to the doctor to get an evaluation. He went and did a full mental evaluation and was actually very fit to work with absolutely no symptoms of schizophrenia. However, the doctors did say that because it is technically genetics, that this might develop at any point. But as of right now, we don't see anything. Jeff said he literally could never return back to those mountains for the sake of his mental health because he felt like he was literally losing his mind. And so till this day, he has no idea whether he had a mental break or if what he experienced was real. He says he's now only able to get closure with it because he watches videos like these on TikTok that makes him feel like maybe I haven't lost all my marbles. Thank you so much for listening to this story. If you are looking for more spooky, creepy stories like this, I have so many more available on my YouTube channel. I literally told a story about a lady who was controlling like all her bullies because she made like voodoo dolls of them out there. It's like 54 minutes long. It was crazy. You guys should go watch it. Also, if you're not following me on this app, you better make sure you're following me because we are so close to 100K. Oh my God. I love you, my abducted humans. If you want to find my YouTube channel, click the link where it says Instagram. Click on that. Both my Instagram link and my YouTube link will pop up. While you're there, click on my Instagram link and give me a follow on Instagram just so that I know that it's real. Until next time, ciao. Hi guys, I'm back with another spooky story. This story is brought to you by Luna from Jamaica. So when Luna was a teen, she got her first bar job, which would require her to take a taxi to and from. The bar she works for closes at 10:30. But if there's still customers inside, they can't quite close until everybody's out. So there was this one weekend and the customers were there at the bar until like 11. So way past closing time. So by the time the bar closed and she heads to get her taxi, when she arrives at the spot, there's no more taxis because at that point it's too late. All the taxis were gone and Luna still needed to get home. So back at Luna's home is her young 2 kids and her baby father. And her baby father, being a jealous man, would not allow her to just catch a ride with anybody from the street. So this girl literally had to troop it all the way home, which was over 3 miles. So she walks 3 miles and finally reaches home. She reaches home, but this is when things get a little spooky. I don't know if you want to watch this one at night. So Luna's house is actually off of the road. So she would have to pass through these like bushy tracks and big trees before she can actually reach her home. Okay, so picture this. There was a piece of concrete in the middle of the track, right beside a big mango tree. So, you know, as Luna is coming off the road to go through the track, she peeps her baby father. And she saw him very clearly, sitting there on the piece of concrete, the concrete next to the mango tree. So she's approaching him and he looks up and sees her. And the second he sees her, he jumps off the concrete and just runs behind the mango tree. Luna thought it was a bit strange. Why would he do that? But she didn't think anything of it, so she just laughed and just called out his name. As she's walking towards the tree, she is talking to her baby father saying, "Yo, why are you hiding?" So she reaches towards the tree and calls his name again and witnesses her baby father quite literally shapeshift into a big black dog. And this big black dog looking creature, this creature literally took off running into the bush. And now suddenly Luna starts to feel unwell. Her head started to swell, and then that's when it hit Luna. Whatever that was not her baby father. It was definitely something extremely evil instead. She hurried up and got inside and just started frantically knocking on the door. When one of her young children finally came to her rescue and opened the door. She said when the door was open, she didn't even bother talking to anyone to tell anybody what happened. She just ran straight into her bedroom to lay down. So she went to sleep and woke up. The following morning, her baby father asked her, "What type of evil did you bring into this house with you?" As in the previous night when he went to use the bathroom, he saw something, a figure, a person-like, standing in the corner of the bathroom. Thank you so much, Luna, for submitting this story. I will be tagging her, so if you guys have any questions, if you guys want more details about the story, as this is all she sent me. This is unusual. People usually like to stay anonymous, but hey, she wanted you guys to know it was her. So feel free to ask Luna all the questions in the comments, and maybe she'll answer you guys. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this story time. If this is your first time seeing my face, you better go ahead and follow me on TikTok. And if you want longer, better, and spookier stories, you better head over to my YouTube channel, which can be found at the top of my page on my link tree. Just click YouTube and subscribe. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, so make sure you're one of the people to help me get there. And while you're at it, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, just so that I know that it's real. Thank you guys so much for watching from your favorite Haitian homegirl.